want to find me my wife says you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot and find me. So,
On the clearance aisle.
on the clearance. Well, I wanted to get a picture of that because that's a Vietnamese hardware store. This is another park in downtown Saigon. This is some kind of a memorial just outside of Saigon. There's actually a soldier in that. And there's another memorial. Anybody ever heard of Bob Hope?
Mm-hmm.
Bob Hope was one of the greatest entertainers Hollywood ever knew. When you get home tonight, get your Google out and Google Bob Hope and read about it. He provided entertainment for troops all over the world for probably 60 years, I don't know. And this was in Christmas of 1967. Raquel Welch right here and Bob Hope right there. Madeline McNamara, she could sing. I was probably 100 yards from the stage when I took that picture. I bought a 190mm telephoto lens put on my camera to get that picture. I still got the camera, still got the lens. Trouble is, you can't hardly find film for it. That's the whole crowd there. And that's me on Christmas Day in 1967. And that's our Christmas tree. Don't know where we got it,
Still Charlie Brown's?
but we got the tree and some pencils, and people always sending care packages, and we always share it with each other, so that was our Christmas tree. This is in a park just outside of Zion. One of the things that the U.S. has always tried to do, and if you study the history of the United States and war, we've always gone back and basically rebuilt what we destroyed. Look at Germany. Look at Europe, all over World War II. And go to Japan and Vietnam. I would love to go back to Vietnam at peacetime. It is a beautiful country. But we did civic action projects, so when we'd get our 7-day stand down to come back to base camp, we'd go out to the orphanages in the community and offer free medical treatment. And this is some kids waiting to be seen by the medics. They're lined up here. All right, next slide will show you he's treating looked like a ball or something on the little boy's leg right there. Now, George Leicester. This was taken the day before I left Vietnam, or before I left the 1st Infantry Division. The night before, our unit was overrun. I was already back in base camp processing out. And the word came back in that the 2nd 18, which is the unit we were serving with then, was overrun. We had several casualties. And the chaplain was one of them. Well, the next day, I went to the helicopter pad to keep in mind, we were hitchhiking. You got to get your own transportation wherever you went. So I was trying to get transportation to go to the replacement depot at Long Beach to be processed out of the country. And while I was trying to find a helicopter to take me to Long Beach, here come the helicopter, and off the helicopter comes George Leicester. And if you look at his arm right there, that's the wound he received the night before. He was a great friend. I got to meet him and say some few things to him. a second goodbye to her. And when I came back, I went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. His family was in Redlands, California. He was from Erie, Pennsylvania. He came back, Oakland, just like I did, got his family in Redlands, California, headed to Erie, Pennsylvania, by way of Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I'm sorry to say that he passed away a few years ago, but he was a great man. That's the most beautiful picture I've ever took. Anybody want to guess what it is?
Sunrise.
Sunrise. That was the last sunrise I ever saw in Vietnam. Is that big old DC-10 cleared the runway, and I looked out toward the east, and I saw that, and I said, let me get my camera. And so I took that picture. Now, this is in Washington, D.C. This is the monument to the nurses that served in Vietnam. If you ever get a chance to go to Washington, D.C., go and spend some time. Whether you like history or not, there's a lot of stuff to see and do and learn there. This is the Vietnam War. If you don't remember anything Harold Dancy says today, remember that. We have what we have because people, they gave their life for it. Abraham Lincoln, part of his Gettysburg Address. A few years ago, Mr. Reed and my daughter Amy and Dancy and Sloan and my wife, we went on vacation to Pennsylvania, and we toured Gettysburg. Mr. Reed and myself had the privilege of standing on the spot where he delivered that address. Now, that's what it's all about. I bought this flag for $1 at an auction. Anybody know what this flag is? It's a U.S. flag. Anybody know what it is?
It's for the people who served in the war.
It came off of a casket. J.C. Green and Sons Funeral Home. They presented this to some mother or some wife. And I was at auction. Let's go to auction. Nobody bid on it. I bought that flag for $1. Now, I'm prejudiced. But I love that flag. And nobody sings the national anthem better than that man right there.
Amen.
So, when you see a soldier, thank him. When they play the national anthem, you salute it. Have we got time for some questions?
Yeah, okay.
I got one statement. First of all, I want to thank you for serving. His age. A little history that ties, again, Thomasville into a major war. The first female soldier that was a RA, registered Army, she was a nurse, name was Pam Cruz, graduated Thomasville High School in 1964, the first female registered Army, or regular Army personnel female that got killed was from, in Vietnam, was from Thomasville. So there's the World War II, a male, and or the Vietnam War, Pam Cruz. But thank you.
All right. Anybody got questions? Go ahead and raise your hands up if you got any. All right, Logan.
I have a statement. My great-grandfather, he served in Vietnam too. He brought home 2 hats of Viet Cong farmers.
Vietcong what?
Viet Cong farmers.
Well, I got some things that belong to the Vietcong. This is part of what they eat out. They carry this in their pack. We had nice mess kits. This is another bowl that they made. This is tin. That's some kind of pottery. It's like something you see at a child's tea set. But that came off. This, I had a little boy that, in the other class, you all know him, he's Chinese. He speaks Chinese. And I know this came off of a North Vietnamese regular soldier. And I know this is an oil can. And he was able to tell me that this right here is oil. But he couldn't really do this, but I think it's what this is, a cleaner or a solvent. Because I had to empty it out. But this came off of a regular Vietnamese soldier dressed in his khakis. These are the kind of oil cans we'd find on the Viet Cong, whatever they could get to oil their weapons with. This is a National Defense Service Medal. National Defense Service Medal. Everybody received that. This is a Vietnam Service Medal. In addition to my Bronze Stars, I received the Army Commendation Medal for meritorious service. Don't y'all go get the SRO. This is the actual knife that I carried for a year. I don't know how I got this thing back in country, but I did. And I won't let any kids touch it because it's extremely sharp. The holster's worn out, but that's a military issue knife. This is your bathtub.
Explain to them how that worked.
All right, this is a steel helmet. Now they don't make them out of steel, they make them out of Kevlar or whatever it is. And this is not adjusted to fit my head. This is not the one I use. But this is what you wore. And it protected your noggin. So when we'd get a chance to stand down, they'd bring out a tank of water. And if we got a chance, we'd get clean water, put in our steel pot. Build fire under it. Heat it up, take a bath, shave. Whatever you wanted to do in it. That was our friend. And when you get through, and it had a camouflage liner you put back on it, and it's just as good as new. This is a ammo pouch. Hooked onto our web belt. And this held 4 20-round magazines for an M16, now called AR-15. This is a canteen. military, you can live without food. You can't live without water. And inside this is a cup. Here again, you could heat it. I got one open here. Drink out of it, heat, cook, whatever you want to do in it. And then this is a annual from the First Infantry Division. Just went through April of '67, and I didn't get there till February '67, so there's not much of what I did in here. These are just some uniform stuff. They tried to tell General John Hayes, who ended up being the commander, supreme commander of the Allied forces at NATO in Europe when he left Vietnam, to change our insignia instead of red to black. He said, we're the red one, not the black. They've since changed it to black, but he would not do it. And so that's why he said, we're called the red one. This is our friend. Anybody know what this is? I know you do.
Dog tags?
Nope. What? This is a P-38 can opener.
That was your best one.
You can open up anything. And this actually is not for this place. This is one I use. This is the insignia that we wore in our dress uniform. This is the Bronze Star, shows the oak leaf cluster and the valor. This is the National Defense, Vietnam, and Army Commendation Medal. And it's blue. Blue always stands for infantry.
Harold, you got about 2 minutes left, sir.
Anybody wonder why I have cigarettes? When you used to fly on an airplane, they give you cigarettes to smoke on the airplane. I got these on my way back from Vietnam. I didn't smoke, but I've saved them. I bet they'd be good after 50 years. Okay, thank you for your attention.